What is up folks, Stephen T here, and like I said, I shoot Sony. Have done since my first mirrorless camera, the A6000. Now, I got the A7V pretty much right away when it was launched in 2021, and for the most part, I love this camera. The setup to be able to jump between photo and video, the 10-bit color, the 33 megapixel sensor, mwah, love it. But there is one feature that Sony have built into this camera that I absolutely hate. And with the rampant rumors about Sony's A7V coming out in a few months, this is my desperate plea for Sony to fix this issue going forward on all their cameras. I'm not going to drag out this video for view time. My issue is down to one simple thing: overheating. Now, this is not a new problem. The A7V has a well-documented overheating issue. A few models of Sony's cameras actually have this issue, but this is the reason I can never rely on the A7V for any substantial professional work when it comes to video content. I have done numerous talking heads with my A7V as an A or a B cam, and every single time, without fail, it overheats. The ambient temperature isn't too crazy. I've done it with V-mount batteries attached, all the doors and gates and screens pulled out to operate as some kind of ventilation system, and I've even implemented the non-official, official workaround of just changing the overheating threshold in the camera to a higher setting. In fact, while I've been recording this very video, the camera has turned itself off. I was literally recording this video about this issue, and it just did it on me. It just turned itself off. Overheating. Sony, sort yourself out. Nothing seems to work. So that is why I went out and I bought this, the Ulanzi fan. It attaches to the back of your camera, as it is doing on mine right now, and pushes cool air directly in one of the biggest pain points, while also letting you know how hot the camera is currently sitting at. Does it work? Nah, kinda. My partner thinks it has allowed me to record for longer without turning off. My very quick review though is that the battery power is pretty blah, draining very fast, and the camera, while not turning off on me, is still very hot to the touch. Also, for anyone who cares, the sound of the fan is like non-existent when you're filming, and if you want to see for yourself, check out my last video right here, because anytime I'm talking directly to the camera, this fan is on the back. In short, if you have 50 bucks that you are about to set on fire and have nothing else you can imagine doing with that money, then sure, give this a shot. You might get an extra 10 minutes record time or so. My bigger issue though is that I feel like this is a problem that Sony has created itself. Look, I get it. Making cameras isn't easy. I understand that as consumers, we are asking Sony to cram 12K sensors into your cameras and attach every bell and whistle imaginable to compete in today's market. That being said, you should be able to make a camera that is able to handle the higher end of the specs outlined as a sales feature. You see, for a long time, I used regular SD cards in my camera. The file sizes were perfectly acceptable. It didn't seem to limit me in terms of codec choices, yada, yada, yada. But eventually, I wanted to try out those extortionately expensive CF Express cards that the A7V can handle. Now, this would allow me to have a bigger file size with more data being transmitted, faster read and write speeds, and, you know, overall should improve how I use the camera and how it operates. Or so I thought. See, this extra data being pushed through seems to put an insane strain on the camera. It's like, theoretically, the camera can handle the cards that it was designed for, and the data and everything else, but in principle, Sony knew that most people buying this camera would stick with SDs and the overheating would never be too much of an issue. So it's kind of like Sony is either punishing you for trying to use the camera to its fullest, or building features that were never really designed to be unlocked just so they can put them on a spec sheet. Please, 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 Sony, fix this for your A7V. There is so much talk at the moment about 120 frames per second at 4K and global shutter and way more other rumors like that. But whatever you decide to put in the new camera, just make sure that we can actually use it without it constantly turning off on us in mid-sentence.